Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So, want to cover the Philadelphia Eagles, some news, kind of some things I definitely want to get off my chest when it came to about the game the other day, and some other things as well. So, let's get straight into the news.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So, obviously, it's been a tough day with the Philadelphia Eagles losing to the Saints, and obviously have to play another week to win the first seed and get this whole thing straightened out. But first of all, this is excluding football when it comes to injuries, especially ones where players are getting carried out by stretchers. And Josh Sweat, with 11 sacks for the season, has been a dominant force this season. And it really did scare me on that tackle. It looked like it was a neck injury. He was moving. He was on a stretcher. Went to the hospital. Got out of the hospital. And the good news about all of that is that he did tweet out that he is back. He went back home and he said, "Thank you for your prayers and support." He said, "I'll be back this season." So he will be back. So I guess this injury just wasn't as serious. Probably has to rest up a little bit. So we'll have Josh Sweat back. If it's even not this week, we'll have him back, hopefully sooner. Obviously in the playoffs or whatever by that time, hopefully with the extra week off, if the Eagles get the first seed, it will definitely help. That was a big scare. I mean, take football out of it. You don't want to see this happen to anybody. It really made my jaw drop, and sometimes it does affect the team during games when things happen like this, when something so serious or could have been more serious happens like this. So I'm really glad that Josh Sweat is doing really well, and you don't want to see that happen to people. So I'm glad he is out of the hospital, home, relaxing. Let him rest this week. And we'll see about more news. If he says he's coming back, that's a good thing. So it's not as serious, which is great. Just needs to rest up a little bit. Secondly, I want to go over the running backs, and I think this is more important now because with Minshew playing, you don't have that run game with Minshew like you do with Jalen Hurts. And from these running backs, I don't know why they stray back to 2 carries with Miles Sanders in the first half. I mean, only 12 carries for 60-something yards. Boston Scott had 2 carries. Kenneth Gainwell had a touchdown brought back because of a stupid penalty, a holding call on Landon Dickerson. But Kenneth Gainwell had no other carries. No other carries in this game. Boston Scott had 2. Miles Sanders had 12. It just wasn't enough. That first half, the Eagles were just not awake at all. And Miles Sanders, I don't get, because there have been games where we didn't use Miles Sanders in the first half of games, barely. And Jalen Hurts has bailed him out or bailed the team out because he can run himself. But now when you have Minshew on the field, it's a totally different story. To get pressure off your quarterback with a nice run game, and you give him 2 carries in the first half, I just don't get why they revert back to this. Why do they revert back to not running with Miles Sanders in the first half? We learn about this team every week and what works and what doesn't, and not running with your 1,000-yard running back in the first half really sucks. Okay, it does. It sucks, especially Boston Scott gets a little bit more involved, and it's crazy because when you're watching the game, I'm like, oh, Boston Scott had that one run, or what I think they had the one pass, the one catch that he had that you went over to. I think I forgot. I think it was like the 40-yard line on the other side of the field, on the Saints side of the field, which was great, which didn't result. I don't think it resulted in anything, but 2 carries for Boston Scott and none for Kenneth Gainwell. I don't know what the game plan is. I mean, even if you're going to do a QB sneak on 4th and 1 and you don't trust Minshew doing that, you could run with Miles Sanders. And I understand Miles Sanders apparently had the knee brace on, if that was even true. And if he did, I guess, he ran fine to me. If he ran 60-something yards on 12 carries, God knows what he would have done in the first half. I don't know why the Eagles do this with these running backs. It just really annoys me, especially because these running backs are paired up with a quarterback that cannot run at all. That's what I just flip out over that. Every time we don't run with Miles Sanders enough in the first half, whether he has a brace or not, he looked fine to me when he was running today. There's no doubt about that. So it just, with these running backs and how they've used them all year, there has been games where they've been fantastic, and there's been games where they flat out have disappeared because of Shane Steichen. And I don't know if it's Shane Steichen or it's the running back coach. The running back coach decides who they're putting in plays for. Puts guys in, out. I mean, I know Deuce did it. I don't know if this new guy does it. You know what I mean? So I'm not really sure. Not new coach, but from obviously we've had in the past couple years. But that's one thing. If you don't have a quarterback that's not mobile, why aren't you running the football more? It just makes no sense whatsoever. So it's frustrating at times. And obviously, like I said, Hurts has bailed the team out running with his legs if they don't run with running backs, and because you can't replace this with Minshew. You just can't do it. Obviously, two different quarterbacks with two different skill sets. And this is why we go into the whole Gardner Minshew situation. Even that pick, that pick six to Lattimore, I mean, Hurts wouldn't have done that. I mean, that's just, didn't even look. Just threw it. Didn't even look. I think he just threw it. That was it. AJ, just jumped right in front of it. Probably the most easy pick that he had for a pick six in this game. You know what I mean? So, and Lattimore's a great player, great instincts, and he's one of the best. You know what I mean? And you throw an easy one like that, you're going to pay for it. And the Eagles deserve to lose that game from the stupid mistakes that they did make. Okay. What I want to talk about with Gardner Minshew is the whole week of practice, which I really didn't get. I felt like they put the Hurts system. They put Minshew in the Hurts system, and it just didn't work. Like the read option. Why is he doing that? Remember, he put out the ball for like 10 minutes waiting for the running back and then making the decision if the running back's going to get it and go through the hole or he's going to keep it for himself. It really just confused me. Like, no one is going to care about the threat of his legs. It's just not going to happen. So part of me was like, maybe Hurts was pushing for playing time this past week, and they just said, no, we're going to put Minshew in. Maybe the Philadelphia Eagles and Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni don't know how to use Gardner Minshew. Okay, as we're going forward, this probably is going to be absolutely nothing. We don't have to worry about this anymore because we're not going to see any more Gardner Minshew, hoping for this week. Okay, but it's dangerous to do that, and you got to mix in some play action. You got to go to his skill set. Under center, play action. Something. They literally ran Jalen Hurts type plays with Gardner Minshew, and they figured, let's just do it with him and let's get it done. And it just didn't work at the end of the day. So it was just a total fail. I didn't see Gardner Minshew near these coaches on the sideline. When the coaches and the quarterbacks are together on the sideline, I didn't see none of that. No reprimanding him or no making adjustments, man. This team is so bad on adjustments and not preparing for this game the right way. It screwed everything up. And with Gardner Minshew, I thought he would play a lot better, especially from last week against the Cowboys. I said, you know what, clean the turnovers up. I think we'll be good. And then they totally gave him more. He practiced more because he only practiced 3 days before he faced the Cowboys and pretty much practiced for a whole week. Then figuring out, Hurts practiced one day and we were all excited. He practiced a second consecutive day. We were all excited. And then that was it. They totally benched him for the game, and Minshew was starting. And that was a big surprise. I don't know if Steichen knows how to use a quarterback like Minshew. Hence why the system is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the system. Jalen Hurts is the only player in this offense that's going to make it successful. Other players are going to elevate because of him. Okay, the run game from Jalen Hurts is huge for this offense. Defenses have to watch out for that. With Minshew, it's just not going to work. And I feel like they put a Jalen Hurts system in for Gardner Minshew to play, and it was a total fail. And I think that's part of it, and that's what happened. Not enough under center. It's just not enough. It's just not enough. But we'll see down the road what happens. Obviously, Gardner Minshew, this was his I guess his introduction to free agency, and look at me, let's see what I could do. Let me try to prove myself for a couple weeks and see what happens. And he wants a new contract, and ever since he left the Jags, he wanted to be the starting quarterback there. with the Jacksonville Jaguars and never got his shot because they drafted Trevor Lawrence. And after that 2020 season, which really wasn't bad for Minshew, he had a really good year. It kind of fell apart after that. Took over for the Jets last year for one game, played really well, and really didn't think if he was going to take over for a couple games, or at least when I thought he was only going to take over for the Cowboys game, didn't think he was going to play that bad. And he really didn't. He almost threw 3 picks. I thought in this game versus Saints, he could have been picked off a few times. I thought he would have been picked off a few times, but it didn't happen. But at the same time, there was a lot of opportunity for this defense, for the Saints defense to pick him off and do some things there. So it's been a crazy day and a half when it comes to this game, and just the things that just went wrong. And Minshew is just not good. That's just the whole thing. He's just not good enough. And it just seemed like this offense was careless. And once they got something going, they strayed away from it. Running game, straight away from it. They just did it over and over, to a point where I don't even trust Gardner Minshew on a 3rd and 7. I don't trust Gardner Minshew on QB sneaks. Obviously, he can't do it. Obviously, he doesn't know how to do it because he went high over the pile. You don't go high over the pile on a QB sneak. I think we all know that. So that's QB 101 when you're doing a QB sneak on 4th and 1, 4th and inches, whatever whatever short distance yardage you're trying to get that first down. You do not do that. And he pretty much got tackled up and didn't get it. So we don't have to. I'm hoping we don't have to worry about this anymore, especially going into this week, which is going to be my next subject, which is the New York Giants. And I don't care if the Giants have their starters on the field or not. It does not matter to me. The Eagles have one more shot to get this done. Okay, the Eagles have only lost one game with Jalen Hurts. Okay, with a backup, they have lost twice. Okay, they have only lost one time. And after watching Jalen Hurts on that sideline getting so pissed off and felt so not feeling embarrassed, but he was just like, man, why? I'm like, why am I not playing? Why is this happening now? There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it, but it's just, Brian DeBall did say after the game that he will be starting his starters this week. Can't believe that. It's just, Vegas already has the Eagles 13.5 points over. So that already tells you that they're going to be taking their starters out for this game, because the Giants have nothing to play for. They have a locked spot right now in the playoffs, and they can't get a higher seed or lower. There's nothing else they could do. They're locked in their spot, and that's it. So really, if they want to play their starters, all they have to worry about is staying healthy. And is it worth it for the Giants to stay healthy, or is it worth it to the Giants to play in this game and not, try not to get, massive injuries to Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, because it's only going to take that one play in a game where you have starters in. And not saying they won't have guys in. Tyrod Taylor will probably play if he's going to play, and I think he's an okay backup. And they'll have some guys that are going to try to, kind of showcase themselves, you know what I mean? So I totally get it, but when it comes down to it, every coach says this before the last game of the season. They always say that they're going to play their guys. I guarantee you on Saturday they're not going to play their guys. I don't care. We don't need this to happen. I'm just stating what has been reported from the Giants. That is all I'm saying. I'm not praying that they put their stars in. I could care less, because if Jalen Hurts plays this week, it's going to be a huge difference. If Jalen Hurts plays, I'm not worried whatsoever. Jalen Hurts will elevate these players, and they're going to be pissed off. A.J. Brown was pissed off. They were all pissed off today. So you lose 2 games in a row, and Jalen Hurts is going to come in and be like, if he clears medical, whatever the case may be with that, he is going to play this week. This game against the Giants this week is going to be a playoff game. Pretty much a playoff game for the Eagles, because it's a huge game. It's for winning the division. It's for winning that first seed. That first seed makes a huge difference, because it's an extra week of rest, which means that one of the most important players on your offensive line is going to come back that week, which is Lane Johnson. If you don't win that first seed, Lane Johnson will not be in your first playoff game. That's just the way it is. So his injury, his abdomen tear, whatever it was, it's a 3-week injury. He needs surgery, and he's not going to get surgery. Is Lane Johnson going to be able to last one full game in the playoffs with this injury? I have no idea. I don't know how he's rehabbing it. I don't know how he's going to last the whole game when he's literally getting hit every single time. And your abdomen muscles are literally always working and moving, because your body's moving all the time. that's I don't know how Lane Johnson is going to get through this, but we'll see what happens. But I think this game is definitely important. It is a playoff game for the Eagles. There's no doubt about it. It's so important. It's everything. I need them to shut this thing out and get this done, and they need to. You got reinforcements coming back. You got Robert Quinn coming back. You got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson coming back, which he will take the place of Josiah Scott most likely. There's a lot on the table with this last game in Philadelphia. Giants are coming to Philly, and hopefully the Eagles can take care of business. If Gardner Minshew starts this week, it's going to be bad. If Gardner Minshew starts, we're losing this game Saturday. I think Gardner Minshew can lose against the Giants' backups. I really do. That's how bad he played. He played an okay game against the Cowboys and went to this. It doesn't work for me. It honestly doesn't work for me at all. So we have to make sure that Jalen Hurts plays this week. Now, more into the injury of Jalen Hurts when it comes down to it is that usually with these shoulder sprains after 2 weeks, usually after 2 weeks of a shoulder sprain, after the second week of resting, that shoulder is healed up a lot more, like 60 to 75%, even more, to where, if you get hit in that area, you have less likely a chance to get to re-injure, or re-injure that shoulder. So I think that was part of it from him missing, the second week of this game against the Saints, even though Nick Sirianni did report after the game, post-game, that Hurts was very close to even playing the Saints game. And there's no doubt in my mind that Hurts was pushing to play. There's just no doubt. Because what he watched the past couple weeks, it's just he knows this team is struggling without him. This team is dealing with adversity now. We've dealt with adversity. This is major adversity because we have losses now. We have a couple more losses under our belt more the past couple weeks with a backup quarterback. Hurts has only lost one game, and I'm proud the way he has played all year. But now it is crunch time. Now this week is going to matter. I hope to God that Jalen Hurts does start this week. I mean, I can't see Minshew starting this week. I can't see the Eagles saying the game is on the line for first seed and a division, and Minshew's going to start. I'm telling you right now, if that happens, these players are going to be pissed off. I'm telling you right now, Jalen Hurts is ready to go, and probably will play this week. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. I'd be really shocked and pissed off if he doesn't play this week. So from all with the Giants, obviously they're going to be saying this all week that they're going to put in their starters, and maybe they'll put in their starters for a couple series. That could happen, but I don't see it happening at all. I just don't see it. Momentum is BS, man. Like, you got to rest your players. They can't afford injuries as much as they have injuries now. The Giants can't afford more injuries. That's just what it is. And the Eagles are dealing with injuries on their own. And, Josh Sweat was definitely, thank God he's coming back and be good to go. And you're going to have a couple more players coming back as well. So not really worried about it, but if Jalen Hurts plays this Saturday, he's going to ball out. He's going to ball out. We're going to win, and you're going to see the difference. And I think most of you already know of why you're going to see a difference when Jalen Hurts is playing than what Gardner Minshew has given us the past couple weeks. So other than that, that's pretty much it. I kind of just want to kind of give my 2 cents into Minshew and why the Eagles are not using him the right way and kind of putting him in a Jalen Hurts system. And it just doesn't work. And the run game, just horrible, just really bad. Like, the opportunities missed. First half, the team looked like they weren't even awake. Like they went to a New Year's Eve party and they were all hungover the next day. I mean, that's how bad it looked. And obviously the Giants, big game. This is a playoff game for the Eagles this week. This is a huge game. They're going to treat it like a playoff game and dominate, and Hurts has got to play this week. If Minshew starts, we ain't winning this game this week. That's just the way it is, guys. We got to take care of our own business. We've had 2 chances to do it, and now we have another chance in front of us right now. Because otherwise they drop in seeding if they lose this game, and then obviously the Eagles aren't going to be as prepared, and you're not going to have Lane Johnson. There's a lot of other things that are going to happen. So I feel like we're heading in the right direction this week. I feel like there's going to be good things happening this week. It'd be nice to have some good news, and win this game Sunday. We don't know what time the game is. It could be 1, it could be 4:25. To be determined with all these games for the last week of the season. So should be very interesting with all of that. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.